Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to present you our project titled Cradle to Grave Life Cycle Impact of Italian Mozzarella Cheese. So, Italian mozzarella is mainly made using cow's milk, and mozzarella is a spoon-based cheese, and it represents 25% of the Italian cheese production. Mozzarella production, together cheese production, is increasing, and Italy is the third producer of cheese in Europe, and cheese is an important sector for the Italian economy. However, on the other side, the dairy sector is a source of important environmental impact, and for example, according to recent literature, from 4 to 10% of the total European impact derived from dairy sector. So the goal of this study was to assess the potential environmental impact arising from life cycle of Italian mozzarella produced from cow's milk. The scope was a cradle to grave life cycle impact assessment, and the impact were related to 1 kilogram of mozzarella consumed wet basis. In the mozzarella plant, we use as a default allocation the milk solid content of each product. However, we use also plant-specific information to assign specific resources to specific product. Moreover, we perform a scenario analysis to test different allocation approaches. In this slide, you can see the system boundary and the life cycle inventory data. We surveyed the third larger Italian mozzarella producer in 2015. And this producer produced just mozzarella, is the only product. They use almost 70% of the milk from European country, which was represented using AgriFoodprint database. And the remaining part of the raw milk was represented considering a recent study which estimated the environmental impact associated to cow's milk production in the same area of the mozzarella plant. In this scheme, you can see all the process included in the mozzarella plant to produce mozzarella, and the three co-products: fat whey, skimmed whey, and whey cream. We didn't account the further process of these three co-products when they left the mozzarella plant. After mozzarella packaging and storage, mozzarella is delivered mainly to Italian region, but also using ship and airplane to some international country. And we accounted distribution and retail, mainly storage. And finally, by car transport, mozzarella was delivered to house, where there is a further storage and consumption without cooking in this case, and a final disposal of waste packaging and wastewater. In this slide, you can see the life cycle impact assessment. We consider 9 different impact categories. In the left column, you can see the impact in a cradle to grave perspective. Meanwhile, in the right column, you can see the impact from farm gate to grave perspective. The yellow color represents raw milk production, and is clear that the raw milk production is the main spot along the mozzarella chain life cycle, and except for ozone depletion, human toxicity, and cumulative energy demand. Excluding raw milk production from the assessment, the main hotspot were raw milk transport of mozzarella, manufacturing operation, packaging. Instead, was a minor role was played by the post-plant phases. This is the life cycle impact assessment for the mozzarella plant, where we estimate the main hotspot were electricity, natural gas, packaging, in particular the secondary packaging, cardboard boxes to transport, to deliver the mozzarella to the distribution and retail center, has an important impact. Another impact from primary packaging, plastic in this case. Moreover, we have refrigerant gases for ozone depletion, and wastewater treatment and well processed water during the mozzarella plant for water depletion and freshwater eutrophication. So in this slide you can see the specific result per kilogram of consumed mozzarella and the European normalization. In the European normalization, consumption of mozzarella mainly impact the acidification, eutrophication, and hematotoxicity in both scenarios, cradle to grave and the farm gate to grave. Moreover, there is land occupation in the cradle to grave scenario, and we have a small climate change when we exclude the raw milk production. In this bar chart, you can see the scenario analysis for allocation. We giving 0% the default allocation, milk solid allocation. All the other allocation approaches increase the emission per kilogram of mozzarella consumed. I would like to conclude this first part of the presentation asserting that working and researching on milk production is the best way to reduce the mozzarella impact. And the manufacturing and post-plant phases are almost negligible when compared to the farm phases. However, in our case, was not in that way for ozone depletion, hematotoxicity, and energy use. However, it's important to improve sustainability along the whole life cycle, and so we can work on electricity and natural packaging and natural gas. Packaging, in particular the cardboard boxes for transport and wastewater. In our case, always allocation is a crucial step in life cycle assessment. In our case, the different allocation change the specific result per kilogram of mozzarella, of course, but they didn't change the robustness of the conclusion because mozzarella had always larger emission than the co-product. So, suggestion for the mozzarella plant is mainly to try to reduce the no allocation values in order to have an overall improvement of sustainability or reduction of the impact. The dairy mozzarella plant asked for an improvement in the study, comparing, they produce two types of mozzarella with two separate lines. Mozzarella from raw milk, or the most common Italian mozzarella, which is produced directly from raw milk. The raw milk is delivered to the mozzarella plant. Or mozzarella, according to the Codex Alimentarius called low moisture mozzarella or pizza mozzarella, purchasing the curd from some Italian region or European country. In our case, the mozzarella plant purchased 94% of the curd from Europe and the remaining part from Italian region. And so we compare these two different products, modifying the impact model, and we add some manufacturing phases like packaging, because the curd after production is packaged inside a plastic bag, some storage, transport, some waste and emission, and when the curd was delivered to the mozzarella plant, there is a further storage, and the curd is cutting and warming in order to soften it to produce before mozzarella producing. Finally, we assume a cooking phase because mozzarella from purchased curd is generally used in Italy as a pizza topping or in other dishes. So we assume a cooking in an electric oven. We have the specific result per kilogram of mozzarella dry basis, and all the impact category increased for this kind of mozzarella, and this preliminary result show that the source of increase, excluding the variation deriving from raw milk production that we know could be significant. The consumption has an important impact, however, was an assumption, and for mozzarella manufacturer is very important the source of this variation from additional manufacturing phases. And we discover in this preliminary result that transport of the curd from European or Italian region to mozzarella plant was the main source of this increase, always excluding the raw milk production. So I would like to conclude the whole presentation asserting that in that situation in the mozzarella plant, the mozzarella from purchased curd had a larger impact than mozzarella from raw milk due to mainly transport of the curd. However, more study and research are needed to develop a specific model for transport, maybe national and international transport, in order to have a better comparison between dairy products from raw milk and dairy product from purchased curd. We are doing some improvement in this side, and we discovered that assuming the same origin of curd in Europe and the same transport and the quantity of kilometer is better to transport raw milk in that case, curd, because to produce 1 kilogram of curd are necessary 10 kilogram of milk, roughly. A general conclusion for life cycle assessment in the Italian sector is to improve the impact in manufacturing operation and including life cycle costing in the model, because the Italian dairy chain is asking for solution for estimation, life cycle assessment, and at the same time they are asking for solution and the cost of the solution. I would like to thank the other authors, the mozzarella plant, and who support me during my PhD, and thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the floor?
Well, just a quick one about the allocation. You didn't try to do the system expansion?
Correct.
No. Okay. Why not?
Because maybe we always the study was focused on the mozzarella plant, and so we discovered that this kind of allocation approaches always refer the highest impact to mozzarella, the first aim of this in the manufacturing plant, and so we chose this. However, we can try to implement the system.
Another question at the back.
Yes, you presented the results for cow's milk mozzarella.
Yes.
However, some consumers prefer buffalo mozzarella to cow's mozzarella and would argue that the latter is of a better quality, and of course that's reflected in the price. So I was wondering, how would the environmental impacts be different from the ordinary, so to call it, mozzarella, given perhaps the differences in the production process and so on?
The production process should be equal, okay, if we consider an industrial production, because in Italy we have a lot of artisanal production, so that one could be different. There are some studies from Italian authors about buffalo milk, and they show higher emission, higher impact than cow's milk, mainly deriving from lower production from the buffalo, water buffalo. And one of the most recent paper on mozzarella is Palmieri et al. 2016. In the paper, they don't. I didn't spoke with the author, and but they estimate some impact in a cradle to distribution center of the mozzarella, Italian mozzarella, in South Italy. I guess maybe is a mozzarella from buffalo milk, and in the study they show similar result to mine, but for example in that case the packaging was lower and the transport was lower, because in particular they have just, I remember, 40 kilometers, so a very short kilometers distance from dairy farms to mozzarella plant.